I feel like my boyfriend is making choices that actively go against us being together more fully. Am I overthinking this? I'm going to try and keep this simple for the sake of anonymity. My boyfriend is in debt and has been pretty open about that since the beginning of our relationship a year and a half ago. I tried to break things off when I realized I felt stuck a few months ago. We talked and he promised to be better and told me he would be out of debt by the end of next year. I'm ready for talks about houses and marriage, and he's not financially there, which, to be clear, is not the issue. The issue is that I was promised he was making progress and doing well. And if I didn't see the progress I wanted to see, we would go our separate ways. This weekend, we sat down with a family member to see if we could make a plan to get him out of debt faster so we could try and move in together. Hayes currently living with family. This revealed that he had some very frivolous spending habits, like almost as much as my monthly income on just random things, going out to eat, gas station snacks, whatever. I knew he had an overspending issue. I didn't know it was this bad. I am a little bothered by the fact that he has asked me to pay for dates occasionally, which I had no problem doing because I knew he was tight on money when he clearly has plenty of money to blow. To be clear, I am on an actually tight budget, as I live on my own and make just over minimum wage. But I didn't have an issue with doing it because I thought we were under similarly tight budgets. Again, this is all while I'm under the impression Hayes making strides towards being out of debt, so I had no issue. And he is slowly Hayes paying a small bit extra on one of his debts. But the obscene amount of money spent on random things, he could have been out so much faster. I told him he isn't allowed to move in with me until Hayes debt-free, so I would think he'd be more careful with his spending. He makes good money. I just don't understand. Despite this, we were able to make a plan to get him out of debt at the end of next year of Hayes good with his money. This is still allotting a lot of spending money in the budget. He will have 2 things paid off in 4 months if all goes to plan and he follows the budget. I said to him today that I hoped he would follow the plan and take the family member's advice. He said he didn't know if he'd be able to insta-change his habits. The new budget still allows for $600 a month of frivolous spending. This is semi-related, but not to the financials. Also, during our talk about breaking up, I asked him to stop consuming porn. I agreed to do the same, getting rid of all me dirty books and whatnot. Of course, I occasionally slip, and I assumed he also was having the occasional slip. We were both trying to beat an addiction, but I found out also this weekend that he still does it regularly, and I have reason to believe it's an everyday thing. He drunkenly told me that on one occasion. He looked up the FB profile of someone he knows for content. He felt awful and hasn't done it since. I have made it clear he can ask me for content and I will oblige and have on many occasions. I was hurt by this and expressed it, and he promised to be better about it, but I feel like this should not have happened, especially after our conversations in March. Am I just expecting change too quickly? It's been nearly 4 months since the initial conversation. I feel like I am waiting for him to grow up. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but when I heard what he spent in a month just willy-nilly, I felt extremely judgmental. It's enough to cover all my bills and rent if that tells you anything. Next story. I have been with my husband for 9 years and we have a 1-year-old daughter. I took maternity leave around 37 weeks pregnant, had her at 41 weeks, and I have been home ever since. This was mine and my husband's plan. I would stay home until she's 3 and in preschool. Plenty of money saved, money is no issue. We spent years saving and preparing for this. His mom started getting super weird when she found out I was pregnant. She used to come over for coffee dates with me twice a week and just talk, and that ended abruptly. When I became pregnant and turned into her trying to get my husband out of the house and away from me, showing up 100% at random and telling him I will let you treat me to lunch, and then tell me I wasn't invited because it was a mom and son date. Started buying him expensive jewelry. He hates jewelry and has never worn any of it. Showed up at random times with her half-eaten sandwiches, soup, pasta, and giving it to my husband because I was just thinking of you, honey. Never brought food for me. In fact, there were several times she would show up after I made dinner and stuff. Her face with it to a point where there was none left for me to eat. Yes, my husband always put her in her place. Multiple times he blew a gasket at her. No, that did not stop her. And this still continued well after I had the baby. She would come to the house, high-pitched scream, mock the baby whenever she cried. The one time she did hold my daughter, she instantly stuck her in her swing and stood between me and the baby, so I couldn't grab her. She was kicked out for that, and we went no contact for a while. Yes, I feel this is all relevant. Because around this time is when she also tried convincing my husband to quit his job and go work with her because she missed him and needed him. He was making $38 as a boat mechanic, and she wanted him to go work as a life coach in a medical unit for $17. When he said no because he couldn't take that pay cut, she got angry and told him that if I was working, then it wouldn't be an issue and that I need to get a job. He told her we had a plan, and that pissed her off even more because she doesn't like her precious baby boy being a provider because she thinks I'm using him now. Didn't have issues before pregnancy, but now I am the devil, apparently. Anywho, my husband did start working for another company 5 months ago, and now he works 14 overnight shifts and makes around $59 an hour. His mom came here last week and started planting seeds, telling my husband he is missing all of his daughter's upbringing and that it's all because I don't work. Telling him I am a mooch or a leech or whatever. And yesterday evening, I am all of a sudden getting phone calls about a job position at my Mills employer, stating they got my application and want to bring me in for an interview. And that Mill told them all about me and how I haven't worked for forever, so they are willing to help me out. I hang up and call my husband, and he tells me that he was the one who put in the application and that it would be nice if I was working too, because then he can cut back hours and be home more. So, his mom got in his head because this man would not be home more if I got a job. He is union, first year, and has a mandatory set schedule for the next 2 years. Now, I told him at this point that if he's really going to let his mom get in his head, instead of actually focusing on facts and logistics, then I can go, and he can move mommy in. He continued to defend his mother and say she was right. So, I left. I sent him a text telling him where I would be and told him that he could come and see our daughter absolutely whenever he wants, but I am all set. He thinks it's just about a job application and is telling people as much. But here's my real problem. I have over $400,000 saved. I have stocks, savings bonds, etc. The baby has a hefty bank account already that I contribute to weekly. Our home is owned outright, and I still pay bills and have since I went on leave from work. I don't touch his money, separate bank accounts. I pay the internet, my phone, my insurance, all food for the home, and all of our streaming services. I am also the one who handles whatever the baby needs 90% of the time. He pays his phone, his insurance much heavier than mine because he has 3 vehicles to my 1. His bike note, dinners if we go out, and the hot water bill. He says I'm overreacting here. That it's not a big deal that he put an application in for me at his mother's place of employment. To me, it is the position he put an application in for is transporting teenagers with records from petty theft to violence against other people to and from their behavioral programs. A position that requires a driver, a security officer, and 4 monitors due to behavioral issues. All because his mom convinced him I was a leech. I refused to go back home, however. I told him my requirements to going back home would be an absolute no contact with his mom for the near future, which he won't agree to because she has health issues, lupus. And for those wondering, no, she has 0 relationship with our daughter. She wants no relationship with our daughter, and every time she is in the presence of our child, she blatantly ignores her or just mocks her whenever she cries. Tells people still to this day that she is indifferent about my husband having a kid, Hayes, the youngest of 4, and no, she does not act like this with her other kids or grandkids. Our daughter hates this woman. And again, no, this was not a thing until I got pregnant. I used to brag about how great my mill was. Now the only thing that interests her is sinking her claws in to my husband, and he is falling for it.